Welcome back to the Final Pop. My name is Alvin Ramirez.
And I'm Juan Jimenez, and this is our movie review for Hurry Up
Tomorrow. This is Abel's first movie, second time acting. You are a huge fan.
I'm a huge fan of Abel, yes.
I'm sure you had huge expectations for this movie.
I had big expectations for sure, especially with the recent album of his, Hurry Up Tomorrow. But not only that, I had expectations based on what I saw from The Idol.
From The Idol?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I saw The Idol, we never finished it. We left one episode. It was a bit too much for us.
Yeah, a little bit.
But even as a fan, I was just like, oh gosh, like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's playing a character that doesn't really fit him.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, am I gonna see The Idol again? Like, is this gonna be The Idol again? And I had these expectations, like, oh, I'm giving Abel a chance. And it looks like he fell short from redeeming himself, for sure.
Okay.
The acting was okay, but I still feel like Abel can do a little bit better.
Yeah, I think he has the potential.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just because he dove deep into music so much, and I think he's just like, oh man, I love movies. I want to make a movie. I want to be part of this movie.
Yeah.
But it's tough being an actor, a director, artist, on tour. Like, it's just so much for this guy.
And especially for Abel, that he doesn't do interviews. Like, you barely see him on television, and people don't even know how his voice sounds like, and it throws people off to hear Abel.
Like, how has that influenced you as an artist?
Well, cinema's always kind of, for me, it's always kind of been my number one passion. And then, I happened to sing.
I feel like it threw a lot of people off when seeing him cursing. And, because we know the music that he does is
sad as fuck.
It's sad, I guess. It's full of drugs, sex, and all that stuff. Yep. And then you see the Abel, and it's nothing like him. He's a very calm and sweet guy. But when it comes to acting, I don't know. I don't think he's had the role to redeem himself.
Right. Yeah. I think he just plays this tough guy characters, and it just doesn't suit him.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, since we're talking about the cast, we got a few other people as well.
Yes.
We got Jenna Ortega, which plays Anima, and we also got Barry Keoghan, who plays Lee. Now, these two characters is basically the only two people we see throughout the movie.
Yes.
The manager and the girl.
Let's talk about
the manager real quick, because he himself, he was just pushing the whole drug stuff, just like trying to make him feel good with a little bump of cocaine.
Yeah, and I noticed that from the very beginning. I'm like, this guy's trying to pump him up, but not in the good way.
Not in the good way, yeah. Which kind of does show about the whole music industry and how evil and...
he is representing
the persona of...
Yes, of the music industry, because
exactly.
he pushed him into doing, like, we see a scene with he's snorting cocaine before getting onto stage, right? And he's the one that, like, doesn't care in a way when Abel says, like, hey, I can't sing.
Yeah.
I can't sing. Like, no, you got to get up there.
All he says is, no, look at these people. They're here for you. They want to be fucking entertained.
Yeah. It shows how the industry pushes these artists to their limits, right? And they don't care if they start like a drug addiction, because a lot of these artists...
most of them have that.
They do.
Sadly enough. I mean, they have the money. They have all the time to do them. And they have the reason to, because they're so fucking sad and lonely, right? So, people like Lee, be careful. Watch out for those. We also got Jenna Ortega. What do you think of her?
Oh, man. We had a discussion with my sister.
Yes.
The German ambassador of the Final Pop.
The German ambassador, yes.
I think what the producers were trying to go for was, like, the crazy eyes, because I think she does have crazy eyes.
She does have it. That's
what
true.
People know her by is, like, those very Tim Burton eyes.
I mean, you say that she wasn't for this role, but I believe that she was perfect for this role, because we've seen her in some horror films back in the day.
Yeah, you're right.
She has that. I mean, what my sister said, she has those eyes.
The crazy eyes.
The crazy eyes. And I'm like, I totally agree, and this is why she was chosen for this movie.
Where I'm coming from is, as an actor, I don't think she is there. I don't think... what I believe is that someone else could have done a better job. But what we got is fine. It's okay. It's decent. Jenna Ortega, she's known to be taking big roles in big movies. and I feel like she's just there for the bag sometimes. And I respect it, cool. But for this movie, again, I just felt like she was just playing the character, and that's it. She wasn't really into it as much as other people, like The Weeknd.
Yeah, but I disagree. I think she was perfect.
I know. I don't know.
Especially with the jump scares, the way she screamed. I think the only scene where she kind of does look a bit off
when she's dancing.
It's when she's dancing because we don't see her dancing. Unless it's on Wednesday, you know.
Yeah, but even then, that's
it's exactly. So, and since we're speaking of Jenna Ortega, we also have to talk about how she's representing somebody else in Abel's life, and that's himself.
Yeah, well, himself as The Weeknd.
As The Weeknd, yeah.
What it seemed to us is that she was just, I guess, a reflection of Abel in a girl version, right?
Yeah.
And one reason why I thought that was the case was because when he got hit and he went to this weird world and nobody was around, the only person in his phone number or his phone was the number of his mom.
Yeah.
And same thing with her. She's the one that only had her mom calling.
Yeah. And also the scene where he's on the bed. Yeah. We have to talk about that too because during some interviews, he mentions that he has sleep paralysis, right?
Right.
And I think that bed scene is the same representation for a sleep paralysis because he's tied up, right? He can't move,
right?
And Jane Ortega's like some, just there.
It's like a little demon.
And
it's just like saying, "Oh, this song, it was good. It was your biggest hit. This song flopped." Yeah. Like, imagine a demon saying that to you. You're all tied up. You can't move. Yeah, that's terrible.
And like it does show that there's like a little bit of subliminal messaging in the writing for sure. And everything was thought of. I mean, if you go to social media, people are starting to like slowly connect the dots. And I told you earlier, we're in the same position after Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl, where nobody understood it, only the fans did.
Yep.
Everybody else was just like, "What did we just watch?"
Right.
But we're coming to a point where like the fans are coming in on social media and saying like, "All right, let's sit down and we'll break it down for you."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the score for this movie is huge. Yeah. Like, there's a huge difference to it. General audience wise, it's up there, but the critics fucking hate it for some reason.
Yeah. Well, to be honest. There's no plot for this movie. It feels like there's no plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why. I think they're being so critical that they're like trying to figure out what's the plot, what's the writing for, what's this, what's that. And for people like you that are fans, you already have the plot within you because you grew up with this person. You listen to their music and you watch their music videos. Yeah. And for this movie, it feels like a gigantic music video. Yeah. That's something that your sister said, Fatima. She's the German ambassador. And she said it on the Before the Pop podcast.
It felt like a long ass music
video. I was
video.
gonna fucking say the same thing.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
That's a good insight for sure. Yeah. I agree. It's just a big music video, and it's just connecting everything from a little bit of hints from his earlier albums, right? I think the house that Jane Ortega is burning in the beginning is a representation of his early.
You see like pictures when he was young, right?
That's right. Yeah. Anima said it herself, like, you've hurt these girls to make these songs. So if you go down that low in your conscious, there's that suppressed feelings of like, I regret this and that. And we do see Abel kind of saying sorry to everyone in the end when he's singing Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Right.
He even says sorry to his mom.
Yeah. It was definitely touching. Yeah. Your sister was actually the one that said it. She cried during that part.
Yeah.
I teared up. Yeah. I teared up during that part. There was something so raw and so genuine about that moment, about just hearing someone sing. There was no other sound. It was just him a cappella. Yeah. And it felt real. It felt like what he was writing was a real apology. And he was actually feeling it. Like, I really am sorry about the way that he is, I guess.
The Weeknd is just a persona of him. And I think he's ready to retire that name because, it's what brought him up, right?
Yeah.
But there's pain behind it. The thing that kind of brought that up is when he lost his voice and noticed that all this can be gone.
Yeah.
In a glimpse.
I mean, the only way that he can cope is music. And that's the one thing that he lost.
Yeah, and we do get a scene where he's like alone, like no cars, nothing in Los Angeles. Yeah, in the city of Los Angeles, and the hotel's empty, the streets are empty, and that kind of shows what he's afraid of. It's his subconscious.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about, and it's the cinematography.
Oh yeah.
For this, and it is well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trey did a pretty good job with this movie. There were some scenes where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like seasick. It's getting dizzy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the intent, because it was those times where I'm like, everything was just jittery and everything was like chaos, and the way the camera work was done portrayed very, very well on what he was feeling.
Right. It's time for scores.
All right.
Time for scores. I will go first.
All right.
I think Hurry Up Tomorrow was a decent movie. Yes, it might have not had a plot. And yes, there's a few characters that I think could have been someone else. But what we got is what we got. And I think Trey did great. I think Abel did amazing. Jenna did okay. Story-wise, trying to figure out what happened with his vocal stuff. I wanted a little bit more from that maybe. And maybe just not having to-be type acting, from Abel. But besides that, I think my score is just going to be a 77 for this one.
Okay.
It's just not perfect, but not terrible either. I think 77 is a fair score for a general audience, for someone that just kind of listens to his music here and there, and that's about it. So
yeah, it just gets like surface level lore.
Way lower. Yeah. What about you, sir?
I'm gonna rate this movie at an 81.
81%.
Yeah, and I know it seems high, but as a Weeknd fan, I did get a little bit of the lore, and it's a movie that kind of keeps on giving, because I can go back and after digesting it and seeing who Jane Ortega is, right? She is Abel herself, right?
Yeah.
And now I know who Lee is. He is the industry. So I feel if I go back, I get a different glimpse, and with wider eyes, I see just the scope of things, right? I just feel like a lot of people are just seeing surface level, and it's just like Inception.
Right.
If you don't want to think, if you don't want to see a movie that makes you think, this is not the movie for you.
Pretty much.
And this is one that makes you think, and it makes you even think more if you are a Weeknd fan. Right, so then. 81 is my score.
81 for you. Man, I feel like that's a very low score for a fan, honestly.
I had my expectations. Again, The Weeknd, he needs to have a better
role. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, he just keeps playing these douchebag like wannabe mean guy, and it just doesn't fit Abel. And I feel like he still has a chance to redeem himself, but this movie wasn't it. Even though he was playing in quote unquote himself,
right?
He isn't doing a good job, but I think the talent is there, just not in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. All right then. There you go, Abel. All right. So if your score is 81, my score is 77, that means that we are going to be meeting right in the middle at 79% for Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Yes.
I think that's a fair score.
That is a fair score.
Yeah, the fairest we can be. So do better next time, Abel. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to go to our website at thefinalpop.com where you can review Hurry Up Tomorrow as well.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at thefinalpop.
And make sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos ever.
All right.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
stay entertained.